No, no, no. If only there was a way that I could just, like, attack the obstacles in this game. You know what? Why don't I just make my own game? All right, I promise you that's not how it actually happened. I'm not that bad at the dinosaur game. Hey guys, this is Oluvids, and today I'm here to talk to you about my game called Auto Hero, and it's kind of inspired by the dinosaur game. And you basically it's an auto runner, and it's a 2D. So basically, you gotta try to get as many points as you can by attacking enemies. Your points will automatically raise as you run, but it will obviously go up faster if you kill enemies. So, and you'll also get more mana if you kill enemies, which you'll need to use in order for your, super move or whatever. I call it the Sword of Magic. Yeah, you left click to slash with your sword, you press spacebar to jump, and once your mana is full, aka 100, then you can press the right click in order to unleash your Sword of Magic. It's pretty simple in terms of the mechanics. It's like 3 buttons, and most of the time you're only going to be using like 2. So, yeah, so I made this game using Unity, and the language I used was C#. And it's actually not as hard as you think to make a game, actually, it's not that hard. For this game, I pretty much just went on YouTube and I searched up how to do certain things, or on Google. Like, oh, how do you make jumping in Unity? There's a, melee combat. How do you increase the score by, each second or whatever? Search up stuff like that, and you will find it. There's the 3 top YouTubers I've seen is Brackies, Game Dev Underground, and BlackThornprod. So they'll teach you how to do things. It's free. It's on YouTube. So yeah, you can just search up oh, how do I make a platformer? There's gonna be a video. You just do what they do. So and as you see the code more, as they explain it, because they explain it well, and as you see it, then you'll pretty much just remember what each command does. And there's also the Unity docs in case you want to learn what each command does more in depth. Like if they mention something like GameObject.destroy, if you want to know what that means, that just means it destroys the object. But yeah, so. But that's not the only thing you can use to make games. You can make lots of different things. Like you can use lots of different things like Scratch or Phaser or other stuff like that. Unreal obviously is like the most popular one. But they all use different languages and whatever stuff like that. But for Unity, you could use C# and JavaScript. So you, I guess, choose whichever one you're more comfortable with. But most of the time I see C# tutorials. So yeah, it seems like it's more common to use that. But yeah, it's actually not that bad. I think, yeah, this game took me like about a month to make. I started around like April, and I wrapped it up like a couple of days ago. I still have like little things to tweak here and there, but like the main game is done. So yeah, and it's all those little characters and graphics and pictures or whatever, I did not make those. And you could get certain assets to use for your game for absolutely free, no money. So basically, Unity has an asset store, basically, and you could just go to the filter, put in free, or like put the price thing to 0, and you could find free assets. Just search up what you want, like I don't know, like a soldier, medieval soldier, or monster, or I don't know, electronic music, something. Type in whatever, and you should be able to find something there. And let's say you want to find some cool fonts, you could go on 1001 free fonts. It has a bunch of free fonts. Some of them you can't use for like commercial products. You can only use it for like personal use, but like some of them you can use for commercial products, and you obviously want to go for that one in case, like, if you're actually planning on like making money off of these games. And let's say you want to make your own graphics or sprites or whatever, you can use something called GIMP. It's like a free version of Photoshop. It's pretty simple, very straightforward, and in order to type your code, you could either use the built-in monodevelop, or you could actually go ahead and get Visual Studio or Sublime Text. I personally use Sublime Text because it's very simple. It's not complicated. It's literally just a text box and you just type into it. But yeah, if you want to be a game developer or like an indie developer, you could actually start right now. Like, it's actually not that hard. You could go on YouTube and search up how to do stuff and then do that and just make a game. All that matters is that you make a good game, pretty much. That's what I've realized. Because like I and also don't make a game that's don't make too much of a large scaled game, because that's just like not a good idea. This isn't the first game that I tried to make, and like the first one I was trying to make, I kept adding stuff to it like indefinitely. It was stuck in a limbo of being expanded, and like I just kept adding stuff over and over. So yeah, don't do that. Don't be like me. Make a small scaled game, and if it's okay to cut certain concepts out. You might have an idea for a game and maybe it doesn't really work out, or maybe it's just like way too complicated at the time. You can just save it for some other time, you know? You could take it out. I mean, companies do that all the time. They cut content all the time, so yeah. So yeah, if you want, like, all that matters, who cares if you learn it on YouTube? Just make a good game. You can start right now. If you have a computer, just, you know, get whatever engine or whatever you want to make games, and just, you know, think of something cool, or you could just copy a YouTuber. I mean, it's not, you know, you could just do that in order to learn. You could maybe put your own spin on it. That's pretty much how games work in general. But yeah, look up something on YouTube, put your own spin on it, and you got yourself a game. That's all that matters. All that matters in the end is just you need to make a fun game. Who cares if, you know, your code's sloppy? Because my code's kind of messy and sloppy. Because I mean, I'm you know, I'm still learning, you know, so my code is like extremely sloppy and messy. It's, you know, yeah. But I mean, it's a one-person project, so I can still understand it. But I mean, it's kind of not neat, so I need to learn how to be neater with all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, who cares if my code's messy? If you can play, you know, most people aren't gonna see your code, you know. I can't see the code of Mario Odyssey, and that game's pretty awesome. So yeah, you know, who cares, you know. As you learn, you'll get better at coding, you'll remember stuff, but yeah, all that matters is make a fun game and learn from it and work on it pretty often so that you don't forget stuff. But yeah, and there's also many different places you could like put your game up on, like itch.io or Congregate. There's also Steam, but I believe Steam isn't as easy as the other two I mentioned. Like with those, you just put your game on and it's there. Steam is a little bit more complicated, but it's still an option nonetheless. But yeah, it's not as hard as you think to make a game. You just look it up on YouTube, pretty much. How do I do this? How do I do that? And yeah, you make a good game, and that's all that matters. So that's gonna be it for this video, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.